So I think we're now at the time that we are set to start the webinar. So my name is Nora Babich. I am the manager of the program that builds capacity of national parliaments at the Interparliamentary Union. I just like to say good afternoon, good morning, or good evening to you all, and you're very welcome. Wherever you may be joining us from, I am delighted to welcome you to this webinar for Parliamentary Training Institutes, or PTIs. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us. The IPU, together with the Centre for Parliamentary Studies and Training of the Parliament of Kenya, or CPST, saw an opportunity to bring together PTIs and try to create a community to connect, share experiences, learn from one another, and foster collaboration on areas of common interest. The aim really is to be able to work together as a community, learning from each other so that you can enhance your impact in helping your parliaments, and collectively we strengthen the capacity of Parliament to lead the professional development of their MPs and staff. This webinar is part of a broader effort to foster a new community of PTIs that we wish to see all of you involved in, how it's created, and eventually its strategic direction. As you will see in a few minutes, in the last decade, we have seen a rise of PTIs in parliaments. This demonstrates an exciting momentum for training institutions to strengthen the work of MPs, as well as parliamentary staff, and to make them more effective. And this is even more important in a time of democratic backsliding in the world today. So today's webinar serves as an opportunity for us to hear a short analysis of the responses from the survey that you completed, which my colleague Jonathan will share with you in a few moments. The experiences from the heads of 3 PTIs in different regions of the world. Excuse me. And towards the end of the webinar, we'll open up the floor and we'll use it as an opportunity to connect and share all experiences, insights, and perspectives. More importantly, it's a place to hear your expectations for a community of parliamentary training institutes and the topics you feel we should be covering going forward as a community. Looking more ahead, we hope this webinar will be the first meeting of many meetings, including in-person meetings, to advance cooperation among PTIs and truly develop into a community of practice. Before introducing our panelists, I would like to invite my colleague Jonathan Lang to share some preliminary results from a survey we sent to you and to whom many of you completed for us. Jonathan, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you, dear colleagues, for being here with us today. Today, as Nora mentioned, I will speak to you about the recent survey we carried out. But before that, I also want to say a few words about some work we carried out to map PTIs. This was done in between April and June of this year, and we carried out extensive desk research and outreach to try to develop a mapping of PTIs all around the world. What we found were 28 PTIs at the national level, and we also counted another 5 regional PTIs. We also believe that there are other PTIs out there that we have not yet been in contact with, so our research on this is still continuing. As Nora mentioned, following this, we designed a survey. I'm pleased to say that we received responses from 18 out of the 33 PTIs that we sent the survey to, which is over 50% response rate. Although we are still crunching the numbers on the survey, I'm pleased to share some initial findings with you today. One area where we asked questions on in the survey was on the establishment of PTIs. And as Nora mentioned, on the right, you see a graph of the establishment of PTIs along different decades. And what we see is a very significant growth in the number of PTIs established more recently in the last 10 years and also in the last 20 years. Actually, over 41% of the PTIs that we found were created in the last 10 years. We believe this shows that PTIs are increasingly being recognized as important institutes for Parliament, and that this is an opportune time also to foster sharing among the PTIs, especially some who are newly established PTIs who can exchange with those that have been established for several decades now. Another area where we asked respondents about was the structure of PTIs and their relationship with parliaments. So on the right side, you can see some of our findings regarding the relationship between the PTI and parliaments. We also asked about perceived strengths and challenges of PTIs, and we saw quite a lot of commonalities in the responses. For example, regarding strengths, we saw many PTIs said there was strong institutional management, strong political backing from members of parliament, for example. And among the challenges, we also saw a lot of commonalities, especially a lack of human and financial resources and a need for more of those. Also, difficulties with advancing on digital engagement, digital developments, and thirdly, ensuring the participation of MPs. We also asked about participants' training needs. And as you can see, in 71% of responses, PTIs did assess training needs via surveys. In most cases, these were with MPs and staff directly of Parliament. Among the challenges that were noted in assessing training needs were frequent high turnover rates among MPs and time availability, among others. We also asked about working methods of PTIs, and among the responses we received, if you look on the right, how often are training activities organized? The most common responses we received were on demand and weekly, followed by 4 PTIs that said monthly and 1 PTI that said yearly. 94% of the PTIs that responded said that they adapt their trainings to different learning styles, and 83% said they use diverse formats in their training, for example, online, offline, hybrid trainings. Also, we asked about thematic areas of trainings, and the most popular response was legislative drafting and lawmaking, which was 83% of PTIs noted that this was an area of training. And this was followed by ethics, transparency, and anti-corruption, and budget and financial oversight. In 41% of PTIs, we also saw that sitting MPs and former MPs also take part in the training, as well as, of course, the PTI staff and experts. We also asked about the visibility and how PTIs are raising awareness about their work. As you can see from the graph on the right, the most popular response and way was through social media. 10 PTIs also said they have an official website, and this was also followed by things like newsletters, reports, and public events. We got a lot of interesting, innovative examples of parliaments performing outreach. For example, in Brazil, where they expand visibility through free learning courses for the public, also developing digital solutions and platforms. Among the challenges that were noted when it comes to visibility was many PTIs saying that they would like more outreach and engagement through social media and online, and also that in some cases, staff required additional skills to be able to properly leverage the communications tools. And now the last slide that I have to show you is on this question of PTI peer-to-peer collaboration. And we were happy to see that all PTIs that responded expressed an interest in peer-to-peer collaboration and working with other PTIs across the world. So we're very happy to see the strong interest. On the right, you can see a chart about frequency of collaboration. The most popular response was on demand, followed by twice a year or once a year activities, and then quarterly was also noted. When it comes to preferred ways of collaboration, we had a question on this where people were able to select multiple responses, and we saw that webinars were almost universally preferred, but also conferences and seminars were very highly also preferred. 89% said conferences, 83% said seminars. And last, we had a question on the degree of formality in a collaboration, if it should be informal, formal, or something more progressive, which starts informal and leads towards formal. Here again, people were able to select several options, and the option that was the highest ranked was for the progressive choice, starting informal, moving towards formal, but very close behind, 59% said they were interested in a formal collaboration and 53% informal. So we hope this webinar is, as Nora said, an important step in fostering this community. And we are still crunching the numbers on this survey, but we look forward to sharing the final results shortly with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan, for those. And as Jonathan said, we will share the results with you very soon. So we're now ready to hear from our panelists who will share insights and experiences from their PTIs, after which we'll open the floor for a discussion with all of you. So we have 3 panelists today from PTIs in Kenya, North Macedonia, and Thailand. So we will begin with Kenya and then move on to the other 2, and we would ask you keep your questions to the end. Professor Nyakabe Kamu is the Executive Director of the CPST of Parliament of Kenya. She oversees and manages training for MPs and staff of the Kenyan Parliament, county assemblies, and other regional parliaments interested in enhancing their capacity on parliamentary work and in gaining knowledge of parliamentary democracy. She is a social worker and a sociologist specializing in higher education policy and gender studies. She also holds a PhD and an MA in higher education policy and gender studies, both from the University of London. In addition to that, she holds a master's in sociology and BA in social work from the University of Nairobi. Before joining the Parliamentary Service Commission, Professor Kamu served as a university lecturer for over 25 years. Professor Kamu, I give the floor to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nora, and good afternoon, everyone, my fellow panelists and anyone on board. I'm going to speak to you very quickly in 10 minutes about the Center for Parliamentary Studies and Training, CPST, which we will quickly, I think the survey from the IPU basically mentioned why we need PTIs, of course, is to cater for the unique capacity needs of MPs and staff of parliaments. And of course, they also provide independent and quality research to continuously build the capacity of members of parliament, but they also play a good role in keeping parliaments informed on developing and relevant areas of policy. PTIs, of course, are also a very critical entity for comprehensive capacity building for parliaments. I think for a long time, parliaments have been trained in a very ad hoc manner, and the PTIs tend to help to have a better structured training where you can follow them from the day they are elected all the way up to the end. Over the time, we've looked at different PTIs. I looked at the IPU research, and they mentioned the ones which are regional, national, and a mixture of both. But we also have the PTIs that are internal. CPST is one such, so it's purely funded, established by the parliament itself. There are those that are external to the parliament, and that would be like the Canadian Parliamentary Training Center. There are those that are mixed, so in between being independent and being part of parliament. The CPST itself is an internal PTI, fully funded, established, and all the employees being employees of the Parliamentary Service Commission. In terms of our history, the CPST was established in the year 2008. It was then it is enacted, or rather it's recognized in the Parliamentary Service Act of 2019. Initially, it was under what we call subsidiary legislation. The vision, as you can see, there is Global Center of Excellence. So we are not just there to serve Kenya, but to serve the region, to serve Africa, and hopefully to serve the whole world, because we can share. There's a lot we can share as Kenya to the world. Our mission, of course, enhance capacity of members and staff of Parliament and other assemblies. Our core values as listed there. In terms of how we are structured, it's important to note that the Parliament of Kenya is bicameral, but we have the overall body we call the Parliamentary Service Commission, which is the employer, the body that employs both members and staff. For CPST, then we have a board, and the membership of the board is drawn from members of the commission, and then there is an executive director. At the moment, we have two directorates, one in charge of administration, finance, and corporate affairs, the other one in charge of curriculum, training, and research. But as we speak, we have a proposal to the commission to expand this to a third directorate, and that will share once that is approved. So everything we do in change of structure must be approved at the Parliamentary Service Commission level, which is the apex body that runs the CPST. In terms of what we'd say from the year we were established, 2008, one of the key successes that we can share with the rest of the PTIs in the world is that the Commission adopted mandatory courses for all staff of the Commission. These courses are developed at the CPST. They are validated at the CPST in collaboration with our colleagues from the rest of the services in the Commission, and they are run by ourselves. They're examinable. So our staff go in, do courses for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. The longest of them is 6 weeks. We've been with this physically, but since COVID now, we've gone into a blended hybrid learning where we do partly online and we do the examinations physically. So that's something that is a real success for the PTI, that these courses must be done by every staffer and they count for promotion. Recently, the Commission approved that the CPST runs a Journal of Governance and Legislative Studies. It's already rolled out. It has a board already in place, the committee that will be reviewing and ensuring that the papers that come in are of good quality. We are proud of the journal, and this is something that we hope the other PTIs can plunge into, and we are able to publish our work in a journal that will follow all the rules of a good quality journal. We have a fellowship program that was approved by the Commission recently that we can share with other PTIs, because this we want to bring fellows at different levels, those who have completed a master's degree, those who have completed a PhD, and they can come and then deepen their work in legislative research. And this would definitely expand academic work in legislative and governance work. We also have an increase since 2008, a very increased uptake of programs by members of Parliament. In the beginning, it was not easy. It was not easy to have MPs come for courses in an internal provider. Within an internal provider, this has really grown. We could share the numbers. It's grown from very small numbers to high numbers by the time we are speaking. Since 2021, we've run webinars, which have become very popular. We've done about 40 now. And the data tells us that we have hosted over 2,200 participants from around the world. This is the second one we're doing with IPU. We also did one with another partner from Geneva. The other thing we've done over the years that I would like to share, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have run symposia that we used to call the Parliamentary Training Institute Symposia. This was begun in 2016 by McGill University. Subsequently, we tried to run international symposia. We ran 2, but then there wasn't enough interest from other PTIs, and we hope from these there'll be more interest to do global symposia. We then ended up doing national symposia that we have continued to run, and so far we managed to do 4 very successful symposia, and from each one of them we have been able to produce a publication. We have also positioned ourselves quite comfortably as a regional hub, and a lot of our countries in the neighborhood have been able to tap into our expertise. Some of the successes that I want to share with you is memoranda or collaborations that we have now entered into. We have a very good collaboration with the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNITA, where we run a very good training of trainers masterclass. There is one we are running this December. I think after this, we should go to our website, you see it. We run it in collaboration with UNITA. With IPU also, we've had a few series, webinar, we've shared resources and resource persons. We have a memorandum of understanding with the McGill University. We ran very exciting programs for members of Parliament in Montreal. But recently, this year, we started a gender equality and women's empowerment program that had 11 women members of Parliament register and successfully do examinations, submit projects, and we are really proud about this. The graduation is next month. We also run a program with the National Defense College that we call National Security and National Interests, very popular with our members of the National Security Committees and National Defense Committees. We do have an MOU with the University of Nairobi, where we run an MA, or rather we are scheduled to run a master's in diplomacy, and also with the Jomo Kenyatta University for Arts and Technology, where we also hope to run a master's in leadership and governance with a legislative option. Another issue we want to share with you is the issue of a PTI establishing itself in a
3 minutes, Professor.
Good, that is safe and has good facilities for training. You saw in the documentary, we started in that house on the extreme on my left. Then in the middle there, that's where we are now within the Parliamentary Square in the city center. On the right, you see a very beautiful ultra-modern facility that is ongoing, construction ongoing. And we hope that with these facilities, we'll be able to offer even better trainings. What are the key challenges that we face as a PTI is, of course, financial cuts. This is something we face every time because we're very heavily dependent on treasury funding. And there, of course, every 5 years, we have a huge turnover of MPs, 60%, 70%, 50%, sometimes don't come back. That then brings, so every year we have like to start afresh. We can also be vulnerable as an internal PTI to political influence and shifts in political priorities. Developing curriculum is always not easy for a PTI because they're very changing. The political scenarios are changing so fast. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up in terms of the curriculum, and yet a PTI requires a curriculum that they can follow. Another clear challenge we will share with others is there isn't a clear framework guiding capacity building for MPs, unlike other public officers who have a scheme of service. Money also is a challenge because it's difficult to actually measure the impact of the training that we give to members, like from when they came to when they left. What is it that the training has impacted in how they do their business? That's a difficult space, given that also they are changing and there are other influencers outside of the training. To finish, I would like to share what can we do together. I think where you're here is to see how we can strengthen collaborations amongst ourselves. We would like to see whether we can form a global association. It would be nice to think about how we can resource, jointly mobilize for resources so that we can run programs together. Our members can meet. This is something we can discuss. But it's also good for us to be able to have an opportunity to share faculty, but also for us, like when we're talking, we have a journal, how you can also tap into those kind of facilities. It's also good to share north to north, south to south, north to south, experiences from different parts of the world, and co-hosting activities like what we have done. I had a very serious way forward here, but this we can discuss at the end on what it is that we can do to deal with all the challenges. That would be a good way forward, that would build a global association of PTIs that can make us do a better job to support our members and our staff. I believe my time is over. I'll stop there, but this is a slide we can come to before we end. Thank you, Nora.
Thank you very much, Professor Nyakapin. And it's great that you have prepared this slide. It will be very useful, I think, for us going forward. I'm moving on. I'd like to give the floor in a moment to Dr. Zlatko Atanasov, the head of the Parliamentary Institute Assembly of the Republic of North Macedonia. Mr. Atanasov has been working as manager of the Parliamentary Institute for 13 years. His roles include developing the analytical capacities of legislators, supporting the reform of institutional memory by digitalization of Parliament data, implementing training components that include parliamentary stakeholders and the general public. He coordinates a Swiss-funded and National Democratic Institute implemented parliamentary support program, open government partnership for the Parliament, and the strategy of the Parliament. That's a lot. His former engagement included 4 years working for the Secretariat of European Affairs within the government. So the floor is yours, Mr. Atanasov.
Thank you very much, Ms. Babic, and dear colleagues, best regards from my side. And many thanks for the Basque Parliament that in Spain that provided me with the opportunity technically to address. We are here on the Open Government Partnership Initiative, another way how to see and learn so the parliamentary institutes and the PTI can then implement in our specific programs. So I would argue that in times of increasing turnover of members, also the relevance of the parliamentary service, that trainings and transfer of knowledge centers are very relevant. So the members change, but also the staffers change. So it's very much to have important to have capacity that is in-house, that can upgrade the knowledge with new developments, then to provide updates, the newcomers to be introduced as well. So this is something that we do actually in the Parliamentary Institute that is designed within the law on assembly, established in 2013. The setup is in a form of organizational unit within the parliamentary service. We have systematized 25 working positions. Our working competences are covering 4 major areas: research and analytics, reference material subscriptions, libraries, archives, public outreach activities, and I call it specific training component. I'm emphasizing like a specific one because we are used to have different types of training since you're a civil servants working for the parliament. But we call this general trainings or general knowledge that has been disseminated with the staffers particularly. So what the institute would offer is a specific trainings that are related especially with the functioning of the parliaments, with 3 major functions of the parliament: to legislate, to represent, and to oversight. In this regard, we offer trainings and different types of capacity development activities for the members, for their staffers, for party group assistants, constituents office assistants, and the parliamentary service. So our statistics so far says that we would generally have around 400 participants per year. Then we would probably do an induction session with 50% of the members at least participating. On the other specific trainings, it very much depends on the subject. If it is a budget procedure, then you may have 30 participants, for example. If it is other topic, maybe less. So what is our way of functioning? We have a 3-year strategy, and then we have financial planning like a sub-program within the parliamentary budget. This provides us with financial sustainability to cover the costs of the activities that we do, including the salary of the staffers. Then we produce an annual program in which we define the topics of the activities, the venue, places, and other additional matters. What is very much relevant that I would like to share with all of you colleagues is that we are guided by the so-called steering council. So it may be specific for our political culture, but it also can be a good decision how the parliaments actually develop awareness among the members, and whenever they change, whether they are in majority or in opposition, that every one of the members are actually responsible for the development of the parliament as an institution. In this regard, the Parliamentary Institute is guided by the party caucus group, representative from the Speaker, Secretary General, and the Vice Speakers as well. So they approved our programs based on the proposition from the head of the Parliamentary Institute. How do we map the interests of stakeholders? It's more or less like we heard before. It's by either evaluation forms from past training activities or just an annual questionnaire to the stakeholders. What is there as an advantage? I would say it's a close physical presence, relations to users of our services on a daily basis. It's easy to reshift if needed. In comparison with a project-based assistance, for example, donor coordination is much more complicated, or it has different financial rules, different decision for premises and equipment, and etc. So, in terms of administrative burden, I think that in-house capacity may provide some better services. Concerning the deliverables, I would say that these 6 staffers that I have to organize all the activities, these are experts in different things, in different issues concerning the Parliament, especially for induction sessions for newly employed or the new mandate, etc. Challenge maybe arise whenever there is a education component that no experts are available for in-house. So searching out to outsource experts and to pay them, and the method how to do this, it may be challenging sometimes. Since my next point would be on the why internal PTI matters, at least for our opinion, is that the parliaments are sovereign in their decision making. So sometimes you have to the foreign partners have to overlap with their priorities, with our priorities. So lacking of self-identification may be a problem, or
3 minutes.
or outside guiding of the discourse, for instance, for the parliament. So in quite opposite on that, we have PTI that are relevant if you follow users' needs, because it's sometimes the members would ask language courses or MS Office trainings that is that may generate the risk of negative perception if you do it like from outside. Then to follow users' time, it's very difficult to gather them. And for instance, when it's in-house, we do it like from 2 to 3 o'clock when there is a break in plenary sitting. So it's easy for them to take 30 minutes and to have like a policy brief on a paper. So I would say this flexibility, time, venue, place, and topic provide us with an advantage. Concerning the formal or informal development, I am a member of the executive board also of the European Center for Parliamentary Research and Documentation, and this is a very formal network, although I would say it lacks financial capabilities because the burden is related per se with the European Parliament and the Council of Europe. So I can share some ideas from there if there is interest to opt for a more formal international network of PTIs. So thank you very much. I'm very glad that I can address.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atanasov. That's very interesting and a different experience from what we heard from Kenya, but also with some similarities. I'm going to move on to Mr. Pori Patro Nopratana, academic researcher from King Prajapati Institute of Thailand. Mr. Puripat serves as an academic researcher at the Institute of Thailand, the country's leading institution for parliamentary and democratic development. Within the Office of Research and Development, his research focuses on political parties, political theory, and innovations in democracy. He brings a blend of academic inquiry and practical application to the panel, having been involved in the delivery of a specialized training course for Parliament on public consultation and impact assessment of draft legislation. Mr. Puripet, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much, Nora. Good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues and friends. It's an honor to represent King Prachadipok Institute, or KPI, from Thailand at this vital discussion on Parliamentary Training Institute Center of Excellence for Homegrown Parliamentary Training. With the new era of KPI Green and Gold, our new motto, our collective challenge is to ensure that our training institute are not just recipient of knowledge, but proactive, innovative, sustainable, and indispensable source of expertise. At the heart of KPI, the new vision is to commit to be a national legislative think tank. This vision is our institutional response to the challenge of relevance and leadership in professional development. I would like to add that KPI has worked with IPU for quite a time. We have conducted researches using IPU's questionnaires to survey on Thai Parliament's performance, on responsibility towards people, and its mission on preserving Thailand's parliamentary democratic regime. It turns out that the Thai Parliament is doing quite well on check and balance, so I can ensure that we have strong opposition. Right. Okay. So at KPI, we have three main missions. First is research. It's academic work to serve on parliament work and Thai politics in general. Second, we have trainings, like the aforementioned PTIs, like training course. And third one is museum. But today we only talk about the first two. If you want to discuss about the museum, we can do it later. We aim to be the national legislative think tank. So we explicitly focus on driving academic work related to parliamentary legislation. We analyze, study, and provide policy proposal on legal and legislative process to enhance the effectiveness of the legislative branch and expand public participation in lawmaking. This core function ensures professional development remains internal and tailored to the unique Thai constitutional framework. We also have journal, it's called KPI Journal, and the other one is called Democracy and Governance Journal, which is English version. They gain quite high reputation from academics nationwide. And secondly, and most importantly, is crucial for relevance. We aim to elevate our course program to become the national leadership school, and our goal is to be the best leadership school in the country. So it's not like a school like the school that student goes to or university, but like post-school. So we aim to become the leadership school, like for executive. We have two, like philosophy, holistic development. We provide training for leaders from all sectors, politicians, MPs, civil servants, NGOs, and stuff. Our curriculum focuses on deep knowledge of democracy, modern management, and ethical conduct, as well as good governance. We also focus on policy and public participation. We emphasize policy thinking and public participation. This is how we address the need for leaders who can effectively implement sustainable democratic values at both policy and in practical level. On notable courses, such as politics and governance in a democratic regime for executive, this is where MPs and leaders in civil servant comes to study. And new generation leaders in democratic regimes, this one is tailored for young leaders. And also, this is quite specific for MPs and their work. It's a course called Developing the Potential of Assistants and Staff of the MP. So we provide knowledge for MPs, assistant and staff, in order to help them, because we know that MPs are busy doing their work on legislative branch. So they, by the law, they have no more than 5 assistant and staff. So which we also train them to help the MP working with them, both in the parliament and in their areas. And this is the one we quite proud of. It's called Analysis of Legislation and Evaluation of Legal Effectiveness. This course also includes the PLS, or Post-Legislative Scrutiny. We could say that we are the only one in Thailand that teach this course. The PLS is quite important, that it has been listed in a section 77 of Thai Constitution, in our current Thai Constitution, that we need to consider laws before it has been publicized or after. Also, we also have new course called Democratic Innovation for New Generation Executive, which blends innovation into democratic regimes, and how do we use the new technology emerge in the world, not only by technology itself, but how to think about it, innovative thinking, blend to it. And we aim for the new young leaders who will study this course will spread knowledge nationwide at their work also. And also the newly course that we aim to do is called Top Form. It's a course for pre-MP course, as you could say, that people who are interested to be MPs or politicians, that they wanted to have some knowledge before they apply, before they can be the candidates of political parties. So when they apply, we can provide them knowledge that they require to know, to be a good MP. And after that, when they graduated, it's in their profile. It's on the CV that they have the certificate for this course from us. So it's quite increased their reputation for them, and also the KPI too. But it also comes with a challenge, so as a homegrown center, KPIs face some specific opportunities and challenge too. First is pace of change and relevance, in political and societal context in Thailand, and also globally, things moving really fast, and things happen unexpectedly. So academic work and research must remain constantly current. With this rapid transformation, we must provide a new, innovative, and evidence-based research that deliver real policy impact, and also on time. So this is the challenge for research. And also technology gap and innovation, because also the technology is moving quite fast too. So we have to follow and catch them. And most importantly, not only the challenge from technological and the world, and also environmental challenges. So the new vision for KPI, we aim to be more sustainable and develop sustainably is our new response for this for these challenges. So in closing, KPI address the challenges of rapid change and technological innovation and sustainable relevance by making itself indispensable. We do this generating high impact homegrown knowledge, and by training the nation's leader with focus on policy impact and democratic governance. Finally, to strengthen our global PTI community, KPI has a strategy to expand domestic and international collaboration networks with the goal of becoming regional think tank. We would like to invite collaboration on knowledge sharing, joint research, and sharing best practice or findings that we find on our research or in training courses. So thank you very much for your time. I look forward to working together with all of you to strengthening our global community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paripat. That's really interesting, and glad to hear that you're looking to have a regional collaboration, and you're looking to see what knowledge can be shared, etc. I think these are questions that everybody will have today. And I'm now going to open up the floor for the specifically discussion, and I'll open it up initially to all of our participants to see if they have any questions that they might have for the panelists. And then we will move on to an exchange of experiences and ideas based on some questions that we've already shared with all participants. So if I can ask the participants to raise their hands if they have any questions. Yes, we have one raised hand. I can't see it. Faith, can you tell me who's raised their hand, or give me access? Okay. I have a English Arabic question. Interpreter question.
Tennyson.
Sorry, Tennyson. Sorry, please go ahead, Tennyson. Before maybe Tennyson takes the floor while he is, Faith, can I ask that all participants be given mic and video access, please? And Tennyson, please go ahead and take the floor. So Tennyson, you will need to unmute before you take the floor.
Okay, so I was saying, are you able to get me?
Yes, indeed, we can.
Thank you. So I was saying that we are turning 2 years next month as a PTI. So we are basically new, and we want to learn more and more. But my question is, or our thinking as Zambia PTI is that a PTI should be able to be, or the work of a PTI should be seen in the way that MPs and staff do their work. And one of the things we've been thinking around is how do we measure, or how do we assess the impact? I know Kenya mentioned it, that is a very difficult thing, but is there a way in which, I would like to hear from other PTIs, are there ways in which, the impact of the training is assessed by PTI? How do we ensure that really our training has transformative kind of effect? How effective is it? How do we measure that? How do we assess that? That is one. Number two is just an observation that one of the ways in Zambia that we are thinking around is to create some innovation hubs, or an innovation hub within the PTI. And we refer to that hub as consisting of dreamers. People can just dream about anything. So the whole idea is that, can we come up through parliamentary studies, through research, can we come up with some innovation that perhaps doesn't exist anywhere in the world, but perhaps that would be useful to our own parliament, that would enhance the legislative process of our national parliament? So that is just an observation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tennis. And I'm going to apply for a job in your new hub. I'd like to go and be a dreamer in Zambia. I think that would be lovely. Okay, I'm going to throw the first question that you've asked, Tennyson, on how do we measure the impact of training in our PTIs that we provide to members of Parliament. I'm going to ask Professor Kamo to come and answer that question and share some more examples. I would also invite others who are participants, if you'd like to share how you measure the impact of your training, please feel free to drop it into the chat, and we'll share all of these examples afterwards in case you miss it. Please go ahead, Professor Nyokabe.
Nora, it's interesting. You throw it to me, yet it's one of the challenges I raised that the biggest challenge we have seen in the last 15 years is how to measure. The main challenge being that, like in Kenya, we have 418 members, in both houses. And within the 5 years that they are with us, we have never been able to train all of them because training, again, it's linked to the challenge of lack of a framework or what for staff that are tenured or have a scheme of service would be required for them to get a promotion. A member comes in at the same level and leaves at the same level. So there isn't any kind of course that you can say all of them must do. So of the 418, probably you have only trained consistently half of them. And that has been our experience for the last 15 years. So do you measure the effectiveness of the half? And how do you ensure that your training is the one that is the cause or effect of how they legislate? We haven't come up with a formula, but one of the things we've been thinking is that you do a benchmark. So from the time they come in, like in we didn't do that before, but when members come in 2027, at the induction, you check key parameters. Where are the members at? Then halfway, you can check, because of the programs we have exposed them to, 1, 2, 3, 4, where are they at now? Then you can do at the end of the 5 years, has there been a movement? But you must have where did they begin? And you must have very clear parameters of what then you measure that is controlled to have been influenced by training alone. Because again, you cannot say that it's training that influenced, because there are other variables, intervening variables when members are in Parliament. So that's something we have not cracked yet. And maybe when we bring our heads together, we should be able to come up with something. But so far, because the members are exposed to very many other opportunities for capacity, some of them get exposed, some of them are not, some of them are very experienced members, others are not. Can you really correlate directly that the training is the one that made them do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? So that's an area we haven't cracked yet. We'd like to hear more. I wanted to mention what Nyangu has said from Zambia about the innovation hubs. You remember I mentioned that we are thinking of a new directorate amongst, in addition to the 2, one of them will host the innovation hub. So let's talk more. This tells us the need for us to speak more, because we could have an innovation hub for the region, for the East and Southern Africa, and say this is the innovation hub, and there we can have people dreaming, not just as a country, but maybe as a region, and we can compare region and regions and see where dreams can take us in terms of making our parliaments better. I think I'll just put it that way, Nora, and to you, Nyangu asked it, but for sure, I don't quite have an answer of how to actually control that the change happened because of training. Thank you.
Okay. May I ask the same question about measuring impact to Zlatko or Puripat, whichever one of you is closest to us?
I'm sorry?
Yes. May I ask you the same question? The question was, how do we measure the impact of our training in our institutes?
We do surveys like after our training. We will have the survey, online survey, like Google form, in some course, we will send them and require them to to answer back, like what do they do with their knowledge, like after they finish the course. And some courses we even have we require them to use the knowledge on their work and send us a report, and but that do not really works on a large course, like for example a course that has more than 100 participants, so we cannot quite do that because that would be a lot of work. But if there are not a lot of participation on certain course, we can make them let them do the report on how they can implement the knowledge that they have learned with us and apply to their work, and with all the evidence, like taking pictures and writing reports, and let them tell us the impact that they have on their work, and then send to us and submit to us. And we sometimes we even have the presentation and maybe ask them back to us to present, so it's also a matter of knowledge sharing, like right after they finish our course. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much. And the same question to Zlatko. Would you like to share how you measure the impact of your training? I think I may have lost him. I don't see him on the... Okay. Perhaps I could, coming from an organization that provides training and capacity building to MPs, I can certainly share ours. Again, similar to KPI, we would use surveys after different activities. We have an evaluation, and we look at it from different aspects, not just about the expertise or the materials that were provided, but we also ask them, what has this training or webinar or workshop changed your opinion on the topic, and why? Do you think differently about it? Has it confirmed what you already know? So we're looking at perceptions there. And in recent years, in the last year, the IPU, in terms of the Secretariat, we're working with what we call a social and behavioral change specialist, and who's very much focused in on looking at motivations for MPs to change, opportunities for MPs to change, political fallout of things that they do, and how does that affect their motivations and their interest to change. So it's very interesting, and we are looking at, and we'll come to that in a few minutes, but it's and coming back to Nyokabe's slide as well on the strategic way forward. I think these are all different topics that we could look at as a community going forward, and because it is difficult, especially with MPs coming and going, it's difficult to constantly be assessing how we did it. Doing an ad hoc, once-off impact of the training, measuring the impact is easy enough, but you're not seeing in the long term how things are going. And from our experience in the IPU, and I've been working here nearly 25 years, we actually go back to parliaments over and over and over again, and we follow how they evolve over time. So when a donor comes to us and asks us, well, what was the impact of our work? And I'm like, I can give you more than that. This has been happening over a span of 10 years. Your project was part of that, and it was an important part, but it's been over a period of 10 years, and it starts before your funded project, and it still continues today. So these are things that you, and I think Mr. Zlatko mentioned it, you have the privilege of actually having that close proximity to your MP. So it's something that you can follow. Similarly with the IPU and our member parliaments, we can follow up on what's happening. This is a conversation we'll come to a little bit later on how we measure it. I'm sure it's something we will all want to look at. But I want to come back to the questions in the chat, because we have a couple of them. We have an anonymous attendee asking what successful models or best practices have emerged from international collaboration between different PTIs, and how can smaller or newer PTIs leverage these networks for their own institutional development? I believe, Professor Camus, you mentioned in your presentation the attempt at organizing the international symposium of PTIs pre-COVID, which then COVID disrupted. But maybe you can share if during those symposiums that you were able to hold, was there collaboration already ongoing, and just what your thoughts are, Professor?
Yeah. On that one, Nora, what happened was that McGill, in collaboration with CPA, put together a few PTIs like India, I think, a few South America, Africa. We came together, and the idea was that we hold a global meeting in Kenya, which we did in 2016 or 17, I forget the exact year. And a lot of PTIs came, and other partners like universities, or it would have been also like Thailand. It sounds to me like Thailand is an external PTI. Can you hear me? Thailand
yes, I hear you. I hear you.
Of a bit of an external PTI. So we had these external PTIs, and then we came together, and what we agreed at that meeting, and we actually have a draft constitution, was to form a global association of PTIs. The draft constitution was done. We had really gone far. We shared it around. It's just that somehow the energy went down. And Nora, you remember that's actually the reason why we brought this together, because we thought we could bring this to a new energized team of growing number of PTIs and see whether we can have, because we have a draft constitution. It's just a question of getting together and sharing, and then people can give their ideas, or we can go back to the basics and draw one and see how is it that we could work together. So, like cracking M&E. If we were to crack M&E, if we were to crack the idea of innovation hubs, if we were to crack the idea of responsive curriculum, given the changing dynamics in the political space, definitely we will need more minds from different regions. So the Hansards in Africa, they have an association. The clerks at table have an association. Legal officers in Africa have an association. Researchers have an organization. Librarians have an association. I do not understand why the training institutions that should be leading in the need to collaborate are lagging behind. I think for me, it would be a dream come true as I exit this space, if we were to form a formidable global organization that comes together to share ideas. We have a journal in Thailand. We have a journal in Kenya. We have a journal probably somewhere else we do not know. Can you imagine an opportunity for us to present papers from the different regions based on our different researches and comparing our different environments, and how much that will build into this space that is very uncharted? Because we're in a space that is fairly uncharted of how to train members, and clearly say that because of training, this happened. So for us to be able to do that, we need to share ideas, and therefore, that's why we ended it at. India was very involved that time. They kind of stepped aside. But I'm seeing new energy, Nora. Let's move it on and see whether from this webinar, we can agree on a physical meeting probably and come up with very clear, by the time we are done, we should have an association registered somewhere, wherever it will be, in a place that is agreeable for everyone, and a small, lean secretariat, and we should be able to run like other professionals within parliamentary space have done. My take.
Absolutely, and that's I think the hope for what we want to do together with all of you, and it was enlightening and very positive to see that every one of you who completed a survey said, yes, we absolutely need the collaboration. I'm going to go back to our participants because we have 3 hands up for questions. So I'm going to go to Amira from, I think, Amira, you're from, it's Amira from Bahrain. I know Amira. So, Amira, please take the floor.
Hello. I don't know
Yes,
whether you
Amira,
can see
we hear
me.
you. We hear you.
I'm not sure whether you can see me via
We,
video
I
because
think,
I do have a camera.
yeah, if we can turn on the camera,
Okay.
please do.
It is okay for me. You can't do that. Anyway, very glad to see you all. Thank you very much, Noura, for this valuable session, actually, which is very important for us all as training expertise from all over the world to have such a webinar. I'm glad to share with you our experience in the Kingdom of Bahrain here in our parliament. I am the director of parliamentary training and studies in the Council of Representatives in Bahrain. Well, our PTI, as some of you may know, it was established since 2002, and it is it is guided by a clear vision, annual plan that we do have, derived based on questionnaires, one-to-one interviews and opinions from experts. Another strength that we do have in our PTI is that our secretariat has many competent and skillful resources, where most are TOT certified, able to transfer knowledge and experience, and therefore making it easy to deliver plenty of courses with minimum cost and high efficiency. One more strength that our PTI has is that we do have a strong team with more than 15 years of experience and training management, who's responsible for writing and executing the training plan. We also have efficient decision-making processes led by our Secretary General, and of course our President of Parliament. And we do have also good funding and is secured every year for the training programs that is revised every 6 months. Of course, as so many parliaments all over the world, we have resources like modern equipments and software, training classes, etc. We just have two challenges that any other PTI may face, is that it is quite difficult to arrange training to MPs all over the year due to their busy agenda. And one more challenge is that the PTI is responsible to train the staff working for the MPs, which is challenging considering individual differences. Thank you very much, and that's it. This is all what I have. Thank you for this chance.
Thank you, Amira, and it's great to hear the experiences of Bahrain, and obviously you have similar challenges to everybody else. I'm going to go to Mr. Khan Goraya from the Parliamentary Institute of Pakistan. Please take the floor.
Right, thank you very much. First of all, I think I really like to thank IPU. I am Mohammad Zaka. I'm officiating in place of Asim Khan Goraya, worthy Executive Director. I'm the Director General of Research here. I'll just cover 2 points. First of all, the impact assessment thing that was being discussed. So we at Pakistan Institute for Parliamentary Services, we are cross, non-partisan PTI established in 2008. And what we have done is that we hold an induction program for the new members right after the oath taking, followed by numerous roundtables, symposia, and conferences year round according to a business work plan that is approved by a high-level parliamentary board of governors. So what we have done is, with regard to MNE and impact assessment, we have a desk officer who is compiling this client satisfaction with regard to activity through surveys. And in the long run, what we do is that we do a profiling metrics of the champion MPs. We term champion MPs who are very particular about attending our symposia or roundtables, who are good at always contributing and availing our research and legislative drafting services and so on and so forth. So, but yes, it is a long-term perspective. It can, for 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, once you follow this profiling with regard to 5 to 7 different variables, that the performance of members on the floor of the House, when I'm saying asking questions on the floor of the House as part of the legislative scrutiny, introducing bills or taking part in amendment of bills in the House. Then a very important aspect is their committee contributions, how effectively a member is contributing in committees, and specifically as they participate more, then they rise in positions also as chairpersons of committees, and also to relatively technical committees like Foreign Policy and Public Accounts Committee, Finance Committee of the House, and so on and so forth. We also see them, with the passage of time, some of them are given the opportunity to have greater leadership role, not only at the legislature, but in government sector. Many of the members who go through the training programs utilizing our legislative research services, then climb up the ladder and become ministers over the period of time. So this is a long-term profiling of champions if the PTIs they keep doing. So, but you've got to establish one desk officer at least who is steered and supervised by the concerned Director General. When I'm saying Director General, meaning we have got like 4 key areas of legislative services, research services, capacity building services, and outreach services, each led by a senior seasoned parliamentary staffer, and as a matter of fact. But important thing is also that in your programs, I think you must involve a mix of seasoned former parliamentarians, parliamentary experts in-house, as well as academia and people expert areas from the civil society and from different areas, be in any part of the country. PIPS is very fortunate that we have enough resources also, and our board of governors has allowed resources to contact anyone in any part of Pakistan if he's serving. So doing that. Last but not the least, we're more than happy that we are already partners with KPI Thailand for the last 1 decade. More recently, we also held a 1-day virtual orientation session with the National Assembly of Zambia, our friend who just asked the question. So PIPS is just a WhatsApp away, just an email away, and we are ready to do all sorts of orientations for the PTIs, be it any topic, legislative drafting, post-legislative.
Thank you very much from the gentleman from PIPS. And I like your idea of championing your champion MPs, but always in the back of my head, I'll have that little bit of caution that we have to be as apolitical as possible in parliaments, and particularly if you're working in a PTI and providing training, you have champion MPs, and that can cause political rivalry. Certainly a subject for another day, not today. I'm not going to open it up today. I'm going to go to Mr. Gustavo Mariluz from Argentina. And may I ask participants from going on that you keep your interventions to 2 to 3 minutes maximum, so we allow as many as possible to take the floor. Thank you so much. Gustavo, you have the floor. And you... Gustavo, you should unmute.
Sí.
Yes, Gustavo, we hear you.
En principio quiero felicitarlo por
I would like to congratulate you for this webinar, and I'm going to speak Spanish because my English is actually very bad. I hope I'm being translated. So I wanted to talk about the impact assessment. I do believe that it is very difficult to do an impact assessment, as we have just said, because that impact could be measured in the long term, but not in the short term. And since there is so much rotation, so since so many MPs leave the parliament, it is very difficult to measure. But what we can measure is the courses that we provide. We have a course that lasts 2 quarters, and we measure, as the Thai participants said, we have surveys, and we also measure the theses that are presented by the participants, because they have to present a research paper, and that is a way to evaluate how we're working in our PTI. But I do believe that it is very difficult to measure the impact on our MPs due to that, because there is too much renewal, and because the rate of replacement is not necessarily 100%. In Argentina, it's actually 20%. But if we could measure the impact, we should measure it in the long term. That's all I wanted to say, and I really thank you for this webinar and for allowing me to participate in it.
Thank you very much, Gustavo, and you're very welcome, and I hope that you will continue contributing. Je passe maintenant à Monsieur Antonin du Bénin.
I now give the floor to my colleague from Benin, Antonin.
Antonin, il faut juste unmute.
Antonin, please activate your microphone.
Allô? Bonsoir.
Hello.
Bonsoir, Antonin.
Oui, ce n'est pas
Hello,
Antonin, c'est
Antonin.
le directeur de l'Institut parlementaire du Bénin. Antonin, sûrement, il est occupé.
This is Fatahu speaking. Antonin is busy, unfortunately. And he put me in touch with you. I will intervene for 2 or 3 minutes to tell you about the experience of Benin. May I? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes. The Parliamentary Institute of Benin was created 6 years ago. It is a research structure, part of the National Benin Laboratory Research, who works on public policies. We also work in capacity building for MPs and MP staff. Our structure collaborates with the Nigeria Institute of Administrative and Study Institute. We work with our neighbor country, Nigeria, with a very seasoned structure in terms of research. They also work with women MPs. It is a structure that I am in charge of. I worked there from 2021 to 2023. Then a colleague replaced me, and I now have been working back in this institute for a few months now. Our objective is to involve public universities in Benin when it comes to implementing ordinary sessions to share experience and research results with parliaments. They discuss their different work. We also advocate at external level, international level, on the creation and effectiveness of an African and international network of research structures and study institutes at a parliamentary level. My name is Fatahu Jima, and I am a researcher at the University of Benin. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Jima, pour cette intéressante intervention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jima, for this input. We've got one other speaker who's raised their hand and who wishes to take the floor. Or is that still Dr. Jima's hand that is up?
Let me switch to English. So my colleague Jonathan has put some questions in the chat that we wish to speak to also this afternoon. I think there's going to be a lot of questions, and I'm not sure we'll have time to get to them. But I'm also going to put back up Nukabe's, Professor Kamu's PowerPoint slide that she had kindly prepared, but didn't have so much time to. I don't know if you can see. It's okay. You're seeing the slide now. So that there,
yeah.
excellent, excellent. I think there's some wonderful things here in Yokabe that that we could certainly definitely be looking at, along with, of course, what has already come up about measuring the impact of trainings that PTIs carry out. And it would be interesting, and I think if I could ask participants to put into the chat what specific needs that they might have that we could address through such a network or a community of practice. And we'll compile all of this and share it with you in a report. So we'll have some direction of where this community may wish to go. And also, if I could ask you to answer the question that Jonathan has put in the chat, that what ways would be useful to foster this network? Webinars, in-person meeting, online groups, etc. I personally would love that, you know, if one of you wanted to host a webinar for PTIs on an issue that is of concern to you, that would be a possibility. I think it would be wonderful if everybody gets involved. It's just my idea, but these are things that we can look at going forward. I'm not seeing my chat anymore because I've got the screen on. Just a second. Okay. And I did also want to come back to a question that Julia Kahua added to the chat earlier on. And the question is, given the vast knowledge generated by PTIs, what role can IPU and other global legislative bodies, example the CPA, play in managing and disseminating such knowledge to the global legislative audience? I can tell you immediately, I don't, as IPU don't want to manage it. I'd rather you be managing it with IPU support in the background a little bit. But disseminating, yes, we do have a convening ability for all parliaments worldwide. While there are currently 181, but I believe next week we'll have 182 national parliaments that are members. We will, in any case, next week we will be having the second IPU assembly of the year. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with IPU assemblies. And during each assembly, there is also a body that meets, which is the Association of Secretary Generals of Parliament. It's a consultative body of the IPU, and probably the big boss for most of you in terms of your administrative direction for a PTI. So we will be briefing your Secretary Generals next week about this webinar and about wanting to go forward with creating and putting into place this community, which, as Professor Camu mentioned, there was an attempt to do this back in the pre-COVID era, but because of COVID, it stalled until now, and now we would certainly like to move it forward again. We have, I mean, if I recall some of the responses to the survey about collaboration, a regular annual or every 2 years biannual meeting of PTIs was suggested. Somebody suggested it could be on the wings of an IPU assembly. That's certainly possible. But we will find opportunities to share what we do as a community going forward with the larger legislative, global legislative or parliamentary community. That's definitely a possibility. And certainly I speak with our colleagues at the CPA. They will be here next week for the assembly also, so we can certainly speak to them about it. Again, I think I'm not going to speak for Professor Camo, but on behalf of the IPU, we'd like to see you being fully involved in however this community goes forward and where we can get to in future. And I think there is incredible potential for you sharing your exchanges and learning from each other, as well as us learning from you. With that, I haven't seen any more new questions in the chat or or any hands up. So I'm going to go back to our panelists for some closing remarks from each of the panelists. So Professor Kamu, I'm going to go to you first, and we will have 2 minutes each.
Yeah, sorry. I was juggling between my presentation and coming back. I think for me is really to thank you, IPU, for allowing us to convene like this and providing this space. I want to thank all the other colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, joining us from other PTIs. It's been a while. I think the last time we met us in a symposia is about 5 years ago. And we've really been looking forward to such a meeting. So mine is to really call for action, that we have many questions that are yet to be answered. We are charting fairly new ground in the sense that we work in a space where every 5 years we kind of have a new blank page, even if members of parliament are coming for the second or that time, because it's new governments, new manifestos, new mandates. So it's a very, fluid space. Therefore, we need to join hands, share knowledge, and together we can shape the future of parliaments through a united PTI community. I want to end it there. And Nora, I'm very happy with my team to really do this and see what it is that we can do, that in the next 1-2 years, we have a global association in place and we can be able to move this space to higher and greater heights. Thank you all, and looking forward to the next time we meet. Asante.
Thank you, Professor. I know that this has been a vision of yours for a long time, and I do hope that we will see it come to fruition in great ways very soon. I'm going to go to Thailand. Puripat?
Yes, well, thank you very much, especially IPU, Nora, and Jonathan, for inviting us here to speak to all of you. I believe in collaborations, like one in the question that one of the participants asked in the question, that how new, right, PTI can leverage with these networks for their own institutional development. I suggest that we collaborate or join unions like this would help smaller or newer PTIs to develop their own institution, and even the
I want to thank Sophia Emma from, I don't know, I'm not sure, Balestrini, must be, I'm not sure, but the suggestion from Sabia is one of the interesting lines of work is to establish an accreditation standard for trainers. I think there's a lot we can do in terms of not just sharing experiences, but actually working as a group to come up with some norms and standards for how PTIs can work. And maybe at some future time that will also trickle out or have a ripple effect to international partners who come in to assist. But these are standards that they should be meeting also when it comes to providing training and capacity for MPs, because it has come up during the webinar that sometimes the external support, while is always very helpful, sometimes it's misplaced or out of context or not hitting the needs correctly of the MPs concerned. So we will certainly look at these things. Sophia from Argentina, thank you. Actually, but thank you for that question, Sophia. I think there is lots of things that we can do, as you said, Puripat, to how can we have the more experienced PTIs supporting the newer ones. I think there can be direct, maybe buddy systems between a well-established PTI and a younger, newer PTI. We might want to put together some heads within the community that would sit down and go off and draft perhaps, an operations plan for how to set up a PTI and how to run it and how the different structures should be. So these are all kind of things that can happen. As Jonathan said when he gave the presentation, we have in our directory, I think 28 national PTIs and 5 regional, but we do believe that there are more out there, but we just haven't been able to find them because they don't have a website or they don't have any information, and and so we will continue to work through the Secretary Generals to see if there are more bodies, PTIs. We will be able to welcome them into the fold. But I think these are all lots of ideas that going ahead we can think about. We will put together a report of this meeting and share it with you, along with a summary of the completed survey, so that you all have that information as well, and the list of kind of topics, ideas, suggestions that have come out of this meeting and discussions we've been having with different PTIs over the past month. With that, I think what I would like to do is thank Professor Kamu and her team, who've been a great host today. And we look forward to meeting with all of you again. And I know we're excited about a new community. And as Professor Kamu said, there's lots of other parliamentary professions have communities. We're a bit late into the game, but better late than never. And I guess that leaves it for me to thank all of you on behalf of the IPU. Thank our panelists, Professor Kamu, Puripat from KPI, and Zlatko from North Macedonia. And thank you again for your time today and your input to this webinar. And we look forward to seeing you all again, either in person or in another webinar in the coming months. I think that leaves with us just to say goodbye, and we'll see you soon. Professor, you have the last word.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you to my team led by Wayua. All of you, thank you very much. Yes, can you register for that TOT? We also have to market our programs. It's in December. It's run in collaboration with UNITA. It's an excellent program to make you a very good trainer for adult learners, VIPs. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.